You've had some really great surprises recently, Capricorn. And things are moving quickly. Something from the past that's almost bulldozed its way into your life in exactly the way that you wanted it to. You knew that it was coming. And yet, the depression and the hurt and the anxiety when it wasn't there, or when it was ripped away from you, was more than you could bear. It was a judgment against your character. It was a statement about your value or lack thereof. That's what you felt when things were not working out and wouldn't work out or couldn't work out, or left you, completely railroaded you out of the blue. Like, how could they behave this way? Why all of a sudden did they treat me this way? Like, felt you just stampeded on for no real good explanation. Knowing that you would be validated, that you were worth more. It didn't make sense. Why? Why would the gods allow you to be treated this way? Knowing your value, and then getting to a point where you questioned your value because you were so devalued and treated lesser than you were worth. This time in your life was meant to break every bone in your body, because it was time for you to change. And it was your value and your worth that earned you the right to that change. And as painful as it was a privilege. Caterpillars in cocoons break down to the molecular level. It is a death so that they can become what they are truly meant to be. Now, there is that sense of discomfort that comes with change. And we had this conversation months ago about your real challenge being to change your relationship to change. And now there's this beautiful payback for all the crap you went through. Somebody really did try to stampede you and steamroll you. Learn from the past. Life is a mystery. So now this time around, you're not going to plan too far in the future. This time around, you're not going to stake your claim and decide, yep, this is where I belong and this is where I'm going to stay. No. There's still part of you that is reserving a healthy level of doubt, not the level of doubt that is going to stop you from taking the chance, from taking the opportunity, because you know that you're worth the opportunity that's being presented to you now. It's almost, I don't want to say owed to you, but listen, you got here through a lot of crap. You earned every single second of the opportunity coming at you. So there is a sense, but there is also that cautionary, but it's not just cautionary. It shows that the change you were meant to go through has changed you, that you are actually changed. Where once you would have just rushed to, okay, this is it. Let me start planning and go from here. There's a sense of, I'm not going to plan. Not because I don't believe in it, but because I believe what I was shown when everything was crumbling down around me. I believe in the power of the crumble. I believe in the power of change. I know that it is bigger than me and that I don't have to control it. And that if I try, I'm going to feel devalued when I do anyway. So I'm going to say, I'm not going to make the plans. I'm going to let the universe reveal what it wants to me, because I've learned to have more faith. I've learned to leave room for detours. And I learned it the hard way. It took me so long to get comfortable with being able to, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So now, my trust and my faith is in the unknown. Is in, oh God, you are so much bigger than me. What will you reveal to me today? And the truth is, there's still more coming back. There's still more that has to be dealt with. There are still things that have not been confronted that will steamroll you if you don't assume this position of open-mindedness and faith. Because when you do, what happens? You don't get steamrolled. You're flexible enough. You don't go into a state of shock, which makes you stand almost like a deer in the headlights and get stampeded over. No. Instead, you have learned, Capricorn, no deer in the headlights. No deer in the headlights. And because I'm not going to get stuck, because I'm not going to expect, because I'm not going to decide. I know how I feel, and the universe is rolling me in that direction. And I'm going to enjoy this like I would enjoy a carnival ride, but I'm not going to expect that this is life from here on out. Because I have learned from all that I went through that that's just not a good strategy. Your abundance is multiplying. This is a lucky time for you. There's lots of things that are coming at you that were basically owed to you from the past. They were actually hiding there. Hiding in the past, just waiting for the right time to bloom and blossom. They never died. They never actually went away. They were just waiting to emerge, waiting for the time. And now it's like you didn't even know you had this many flowers planted. They're blooming all around you. There's abundance coming in, and it's because you're allowing it to come in instead of putting up all those walls and blockages and deciding what to value and what not. You don't have those walls or blockages, so much is coming in, and you're learning to appreciate it and see it for the opportunity that it is. The abundance is there. It was always there, but now you're allowing it to come through. And there's more to come. And I do believe this has something to do with something from the past coming back. Something or someone, could be a Taurus, could be a Scorpio, could be none of those, could just be an opportunity that's come back. And there is that little bit of you, that little part of you that is like, all that shit you put me through to bring me to this point where you appreciate me. Yeah. And the happiness that awaits you is boundless. And it wasn't about you, it was about them, and it was about their journey and what they needed to realize and go through. You know, maybe they needed to hurt, they needed to suffer, they needed to lose you to know how valuable you were for them, like how valuable you were to them. Some people only learn that way. They only learn the hard way, and you're one of them. So that's definitely something that you have in common. This has something to do with also Taurus energy, money that was hidden, being revealed, an opportunity coming in, maybe from an unknown source, an unpredictable source of abundance, of growth, something that wants to expand, something that wants to grow has come into you unexpectedly. This is a really good venture. This is a really good sign. It's a great opportunity. No, this and that are not true. This is deciding to dive in deep and make a decision and take a stand. It's deciding to make a decision to not decide. But not to look for ways to make everything okay. In fact, I think you're more selective now. You've learned to be more choosy. You've learned your value, and you've learned to not compromise it or let anybody else compromise it or devalue you. This is also a sense of diving in deep. Somehow, right now, you are in deep. And I think you always wanted to be there. Could be dealing with a Sagittarius, could be dealing with a water sign. This is that sense of they've done a total 180. They've completely changed. All of a sudden, they're diving in. They're not acting like themselves. They're not acting like the person who made you feel the way that they made you feel a long time ago. They've changed because of you. And that's why it's a good strategy for you to not settle on what you expect. Because you had almost decided that the world was just going to keep steamrolling you and that things weren't going to get any better. And then all of a sudden they start getting really wonderful. But you don't want to get your hopes up, because that really wonderful is something that you thought was happening before. It wasn't. The other party wasn't ready. And they really didn't completely and totally see your value to their life. They saw your value, but they didn't see your value in their life, in their future, in what they wanted out of life. They understood that you were a quality person or employee, whatever it was. They understood you were a quality person, but they didn't understand how you would be impacting their life or helping it to head in the direction that they want their life to head in. So they counted you out. They counted you out, mostly because they didn't feel you feeling like everybody else they'd experienced before. They were stuck in their old patterns. And so they steamrolled you. They stampeded right by. But it was your value that stuck in their head. It was your value that they couldn't find replicated in anybody else. It was how different you are that made them turn around and come back and tread more lightly this time, realizing that you were precious and not to be trampled on. Everything that they decided was the truth was wrong. And this change had to come from them. It couldn't, nope, because it was about them and their eyesight. It was about them and how they see things and how they perceive things. There's nothing that you could have done. But before, you just stood so firm and almost allowed yourself to get stampeded, Capricorn. Because it was an insistence. An insistence on what? If they don't see it, you can't be their eyes for them. You can point to where it is, but if they're not able to view it, you're really in two different worlds, aren't you? And there was a really harsh acceptance there that we were in two separate worlds. And we'd come so close, but there was still that thin veil. I don't know what my puppy's up to. There was still that thin veil between us that kept us separated, that kept us in two different dimensions. Well, the veil has been pulled back. And that has to do with the cosmos aligning in a way that it's get real, get honest, get truthful, see value, see like what is really valuable, not all the superfluous crap we take inside of ourselves and say is valuable because it gets us high or makes us have cheap thrills or is easy for us, because easy is different than good. And you, Capricorn, are not easy, but you are good. Quality does not come quickly. Somebody had to realize it. And it was very difficult for them to realize it because you are different. You are a different kind of value. They've never experienced something or someone like you before with your capabilities. They had no idea how to behave with you. They had no idea how to see you. If you remember those books that they came out with at least 15 years back now, those 5D, view books where you just see this picture, but if you looked at it the right way, you'd see a 3D image in that picture. Well, you have to practice, or else all you see is a flat photo. They were not capable of focusing or seeing what else, the depth. They weren't but it was their lacking, not yours. Of course, it felt like you were lacking. It felt like it was your fault. It certainly became your problem, right? And you had to deal with it. And you did. And it was in your moving on that they were inspired to look in a different way, which enabled them to see, holy crap, I didn't even know this was here. Now what will you do? What will you do? Capricorn, I'm going to continue in the tarot card reading. Please join me for the extended video. The link is in the description box below. I'll see you over there.